You have not heard this before. In 2015, this channel made a short 3-part video about 10 minutes long pinpointing the crucifixion timeline. But some Bible scholars and pastors fail to accept that Jesus was crucified on a Thursday, not Friday. Many have mistakenly overlooked this fact. There were 2 feasts and 2 Sabbaths in that same week. It was called a high day, or special Sabbath, which was on a Friday. The week of the crucifixion in April will align with the Jewish feast days and this timeline, beginning this year and in 2018. You can find the link to that video in the description box below. The date, days, and numbers is no coincidence. This is a game changer because it connects the crucifixion to the book of Daniel and Daniel's 1 week, the years 2017 and 18, the 10 plagues of Egypt, the 3 days of darkness, the 4 angels bound in the Euphrates River, and the tribulation in Revelations. Keep in mind this is a Jubilee year, marking the end of a generation in a 7 times 7 year cycle, and the beginning of a new one. What is about to be revealed has never been explained in this way before. There is more to the crucifixion than we thought. The week that Jesus was crucified was a one-time event. There was Palm Sunday, the Passover, unleavened bread, the Lord's Supper, or Last Supper, first fruits, 2 different feasts, a special Sabbath, and the crucifixion and resurrection, all in the same week. But there's more. 2017 marks the end of Daniel's 70 weeks, and beginning of the 1-week agreement that will be broken in the middle of the week by the Antichrist is soon to follow. This happens in the middle of the tribulation. The time frame of when Jesus ministered was about 3.5 years. He rose again on the 3rd day. After he ascended back into heaven, the devil, the prince of this world, accelerated his plan of deception. After the 2 witnesses prophesy for 3.5 years, then be killed and lay in the streets for 3.5 days, on that same 3rd day, they will ascend back into heaven too. Then an earthquake. Now the devil begins his short reign during the tribulation. Hypothetical. 1,000 years is 1 day and 1 day is 1,000 years to God. Keep that in mind. Jesus was crucified over 2,000 years ago, or you could also say, just over 2 days ago. Did you catch that? When he begins his millennial reign of 1,000 years, that could be considered as the 3rd day. Just as he rose on the 3rd day after his crucifixion. This means that, at about the time of the millennial reign, it would be about 3 to 3.5 days, on God's time. Remember this. When you hear the same numbers over and over, it is a pattern, and for signs and seasons. Now here is where it all begins to come together. The week of the crucifixion, Daniel in the lion's den, King Nebuchadnezzar's dream, Belshazzar's encounter with the writing on the wall, Daniel and John's visions, Daniel's 1 week, John's 7-year tribulation, and the 4 angels bound in the Euphrates River. The week of the crucifixion is playing out in the constellations right now, and lines up with the Jewish feast days in April. You have never heard this before, so I will use it as a hypothetical. What if the 6th seal, and 6th trumpet, is the day of preparations for us? Everyone must be prepared before their final resting day, right? And it is prior to the 7th seal and 7th trumpet, which could also mean the Sabbath. Which is rest, or done. God's grace to us may be an extended time for us to prepare. Think about it. Now Daniel was in the lion's den twice. 1 day under King Darius, and again 6 days under Nebuchadnezzar's son. 1 and then 6, equals 7. As in 1 week, but split as 6 days, plus 1 day to equal 7. Nebuchadnezzar's dream is the framework, sort of speak, for the end times. His grandson, Belshazzar, feast was interrupted by the hand of God writing on the wall. This is where the Euphrates River comes in. The ER in Euphrates River is like the ER in emergency. Kind of like 911. Do you get it? Remember back in Moses and Pharaoh's days, thick darkness covered the land of Egypt like a plague for 3 days. 3 days of darkness. Just like the 10 plagues of Egypt, 3 of 10 plagues will come in the form of fire, smoke, and brimstones, before the 7th seal during the Great Tribulation. Now the 4 living creatures in heaven described in Ezekiel, are not to be confused with the 4 cherubim angels bound at the great Euphrates River, first mentioned in Genesis 3:24. 24 is going to come up again. So is 4 and 6. But the emphasis is on 6. When we read about the 24 elders in Revelations, the 4 living creatures are mentioned as well. They have 6 wings. 4 times 6 is 24. There are 24 hours in a day, and 4 seasons in a year. The 4 angels bound at the great Euphrates River are unleashed at the sounding of the 6th trumpet, right after the locust. They have the face of a man, hair of a woman, teeth of a lion. Now watch this. Man, woman, and beast, were all created on the 6th day. What if the 6 wings represented the 6th day of creation? God spoke and created everything in 6 days, and rested on the 7th. Remember I mentioned earlier, Daniel in the lion's den for 1 day, and then again for 6 days? For a total of 7 days, or 1 week. Also, from the time of Adam to Jesus is about 4,000 years. From the ascension of Jesus until now, has been over 2,000 years, which equal over 6,000 years. Or in God's time, 6 days. Are you catching this? So, in conclusion, in Revelations, the bulk of everything happens in 6s, and is closed out by the 7th. Meaning complete. Belshazzar in the days of Daniel, didn't think the Medes and Persians could attack him, partially because of the Euphrates River. But it had dried up, making way for the kings of the east to cross over and attack and kill him at his feast. A star called wormwood will fall from the sky into the rivers like a torch. It will be the key that opens the bottomless pit. The Euphrates River is where this star will fall. This will once again make way for the kings of the east to come, whose army is 200 million and several nations. The kings will have authority with the beast for 1 hour. The plagues will come in 1 day for the great city, and it will fall in 1 hour. These angels were prepared for 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, and 1 hour. Which is the day of wrath and judgment, on the nations. Don't forget the link in the description box about the crucifixion timeline. And be sure to watch the rapture you need to see. Until next time. Take care, and God bless.